The deal is this. Tell you, when I was a kid, I read Dropper Anton Wilson, all this real. Tell you, when I was a kid, I read Dropper Anton Wilson, all this real. Dude, I'm pissed. Dude, I'm pissed. Come on. What? Okay, by the time we finish this, you're all going to be practicing magicians.
I'm Jeremy Greer.
And I'm Gary Butterfield.
And this is Days of Future Cast, the podcast where Gary and I are going through the new X-Men series from Marvel, a.k.a. Disney, a.k.a. your corporate overlords. This is Grant Morrison's run, starting in 2001. We are on issue 124 up till now. All hell is basically broken loose. Cassandra Nova has taken over the Empire, the Shi'ar Empire, and is killing and basically bringing that whole thing to destruction as I'm about to launch an attack onto the Xavier campus. Gary, how are you today?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm excited to talk about these issues, which like have some dodgy art, but really is kind of the wrap up of the first set of arcs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, of this. And you know, I think that we both agree. Like, I like the back half of this book. This is the stronger half, I think.
Yes.
You know, the Cassandra Nova saga is really good. And a lot of fun stuff, a lot of fun dialogue.
Yeah.
In this, like the weird thing we talked about this last episode, these issues are fun. They're kind of funny and like adventuresome.
Yeah. Especially the Scott and Zorn stuff, I think, is all really,
like
really good.
Comedy. Yeah, straight man and straight man. Like, it's real weird.
It's 48 hours with Nick Nolte and not Nick Nolte.
And also Nick Nolte. It's the Three Stooges, Mo, and Mo.
Oh, man.
You know?
I always get tickets on the off nights. God damn it.
It's pretty fun. You know, they do great, like good characterization and stuff. So I'm excited to talk about those. And other than that, I'm doing good. This is the first episode of this we recorded in the new year.
Yes, it is.
As I'm saying on all the shows, just in case people only listen to one, thanks everybody who donated and tuned into Duckstream.
It was
really appreciate it.
It was an absolute blast. And if you were there for my segment, I'm sorry about all the feet stuff.
Yep. I now, so I don't, I don't listen to Monster of the Week.
Of course not.
And
Why
I
would
was
you?
I was sleeping during your segment. So all I pick up of like Jeremy memes is secondhand. And it's just like every once in a while, Twitter will be like my text, shooting you a picture of a foot with a wink or something.
Yep.
And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what is going on with Jeremy's foot thing? Which, whatever. I don't want to kink shame you.
No, it's not. It's not even that.
It's
it's one of those memes that have just. It's not even really a meme. It's just not even an inside joke. It's just a joke that has evolved into. And you and Cole have had this before, where you and Cole make a joke, and then the audience takes it and just runs with it, and then it becomes its own thing, and to the point where you don't want to make the joke on the podcast anymore.
Yeah.
So it's essentially that, except I had my guest for that was a woman named Mimi, and she's very much into Genichiro and Sekiro, and we started talking about who has the best feet in Sekiro, and then it was all downhill from there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, a good time and fun, and you guys did great, by the way. Just an outstanding outpouring of donations and goodwill and everything. So yeah, you and Cole and the rest of the crew did great.
That's not like you. It's like not like you're not part of this, man. Like, we did great.
It's true.
Coalition victory.
Yeah, you did 24 hours. I did 2. So
yeah, but it was good. It nearly killed everybody.
Yes,
on our side. The only person who was fine was Nick, and that's because he's 4 years old. Yeah. Have you considered like actually getting into feet sexually now that you have the reputation for it?
Not at all.
Just because, like,
not
why
really.
not?
No, because it's because like And here's the thing: is like it could be just fine, but but like if you do any like amount of research on the internet, like the wiki feet thing, which I know you've come across in your travels, like I just don't want to be associated with those kind of dudes. Like I don't want to talk about any of my sexual kinks on anything out in public, right? Like that's for me and Autumn and our au pair. But but I definitely but I definitely don't. I definitely don't want to be one of the guys that like have a Wikipedia about my fetish either. Like it's just fucking weird.
Yeah, like reply guys. The people are just like straight up on Twitter, just responding to a Ocasio Cortez, would just like show us your feet.
Yes. Yeah. And then like like one of the writers from Rick and Morty that I started following recently, whose name has just escaped me, so sorry about that. But someone like DM'd her, was like, "Hey, can I be your Paypig?" And she was like, she had to like, she tweeted it out. She was like, had to go look up what a Paypig was, and she's like, I refuse to answer that question for less than $50. And he was, and he was like, "What's your Venmo?" And she's like, "I don't know what else to do about this, y'all. This is weird.
What did I back into? Oh no, something is very wrong."
I refuse to answer that question for less than $50. It's really funny to me though.
That's really good. And and she got $50 to say like,
no, please don't do that. No. So not a foot guy, not going to be a foot guy. Just
purely Paypig.
Like my plain normal sex with a little bit of weirdness involved that I'm not going to talk about publicly.
Yeah, Paypigs. Let's get into
speaking
Zorn,
of Paypigs,
who is Cyclops' Paypig in terms of being a buddy. Can we talk about the cover of this for a second?
Can we talk about just platonic Paypigs? Is that what you were just proposing? I'll give you $50 if you give me a high five and tell me my Facebook post was cool.
Hell yeah, platonic Paypig. What up, my platonic Paypig?
Oh my god, so weird.
I don't think this is the first time we've come upon the title of the episode this early.
That's probably true. Yeah.
So the cover of this, we got Zorn. He's sniffing some tater chips with salt, and weird energies coming out of them. I've always liked this cover. I don't, I got nothing to say other than that. I just think it's a great cover.
It's just really silly. I think it's like, and it has nothing to do with what's going on in the inside of the book, which is something that used to really bother me about comics, but I've just given up on nowadays.
That is, that was a remit of this era. That was, the editors at this time, Quesada and Hamas, were saying that covers should be things they could use for other art, like pinup style stuff. Like you want to just have an iconic image of of a character on the cover, and the reason to do that was so you could then use that for trading cards or posters or what have you.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, if you're a capitalist,
like it made comics really anonymous at the time. And then like when a book would not do that, it was awesome. Like Ecstatics has really great covers that don't do that.
Yeah,
generally. So so we begin. We have Cyclops and Zorn got zapped and kidnapped up onto this thing, and they're being interviewed by a guy with a Smash Brothers symbol on his chest. And
this is Daddy Smash. I've been looking for him.
Daddy Smash. You unlock, and again, just the tone of this that's very cute is Zorn being like, "Is this typical of life with the X-Men?" It's like, well, sometimes it's quiet too.
Yeah, and this is
they're hanging upside down.
And this is the first time that you really get an idea that the art in this particular issue is going to be kind of bad.
Dude, we're still in the Cordy zone. There's the worst Wolverine ever in the next issue, I think.
Yes,
where him addressing Super Guardian, where he does not look like a human. Like I think he looks like a weird half rat man. In it, it gets really disgusting. And Super Smash Daddy here looks pretty all right.
Yeah.
But everyone else is just off model and shitty.
Yeah, and they do. Like Cyclops especially really bothers me in this issue. But all of this stuff is good because G-Type is basically being there oh, we're going to start the purification and we're going to do that with atmospheric cremation. And I'm just loving Grant Morrison not making up a bunch of words, but just having a good time with his vocabulary. Yeah,
making fun of the Shi'ar's Byzantine religious practices, and they see through it. They're like, hey, they're gonna shoot us into space. They're gonna shoot us at the Earth.
Which I mean, in X-Men, the ways that X-Men die, that's got to be up there, right? If you got shot at Earth, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it basically happened to Kitty Pryde.
Oh, I know. That's exactly what I was thinking about.
Yeah.
How silly that fucking gigantic bullet is. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, mega bullet. Yeah.
Oh,
So basically, they're doing the same thing that's going to happen in any kind of mind control story. I always get a little annoyed where every character has to try to talk, everyone has to realize that someone's being mind controlled and try to talk, come to your senses. You're being manipulated. Yeah, that conversation happens a lot in this arc. Happens at least a little quick here, where Cyclops, like, they know the X-Men know these people. It's like, hey, don't do this.
Yeah,
we're friends, G-Type. Like, me. This is stupid. But Lilandra comes in with Cassandra Nova in Charles Xavier's body with the big Psy cocoon, and basically just says like, nope, we actually have to cleanse the mutants from the Earth. We actually know you're Cassandra Nova. Me and Lilandra barely survived an encounter with her, but I'm Charles now, and it's time to kill all the mutants. And everyone's standing around like, oh, Jim Halpert face, I imagine.
Absolutely. This all looks incredibly bad. I do like that Cassandra Nova has taken over Xavier's like life and just said like, oh, I'm just a nude guy now. That's my
totally.
That's my costume. It's just me nude. I'm just gonna put my donger on display for the whole fucking world and Shi'ar Empire. Yeah.
Yeah. It's at some point during this arc, Professor Xavier decided not to wear clothes the same way Childish Gambino decided not to wear clothes.
I know. I'm here for both, to be honest with you. Let's get it going.
Yeah. And like literally, like there's a issue that ends right before full frontal Charles Xavier to all of his students. Mm-hmm. So if you're into that.
I am. I've been watching The Watchmen. I got all my blue donger that I need. Yeah, so now I'm looking for my white donger.
Yeah, I've got to collect them all. Yep. Get all five colors of mana of donger. And then cast the Sliver Queen.
So,
this is a joke from Brian Wade. In case he's listening.
This kind of concludes with like G-Type shooting Cyclops in the face with his like living plasma beam or something. I don't really know G-Type's powers. I'm not gonna bother to learn now. And I love Zorn's line here because she's like, he is not mad. Scott is my friend. What is this world of liars?
What is this world of liars?
Oh,
one of the things, we'll talk about the twist in this at some point. But one of the things, the reason, the twist is controversial, not everybody in the Slack liked it. I've heard people who don't like it. One of the things is just how silly Zorn is. Like, there's an issue we're going to cover in this recording session, probably, that is him writing a letter back to the mansion. Mm-hmm. And he's just so, like, perfectly, he's playing them. Like, that kind of dialogue, that awkward, like, ah, yes, my friend, you are very pure and I am a healer. Like, all of that kind of speech is him fucking around. It's what people think that Zorn would be.
Yeah.
As this, like, this guy who is in this monastery, who is this, like, other kind of, like, almost like exoticized, like, oh, this Chinese American mystic who has this like power we can't comprehend. Like, of course he speaks in these half wisdoms and this stilted way of speaking.
Just really trading on the X-Men's like latent racism, right?
A little bit, right? Like, that's kind of what I was getting at, but I don't think that's entirely off model, off base.
It's weird, and I guess we should probably save this for when we actually talk about what the twist is. But I was just sitting here thinking about like other times that a character is purported to be good, and then they pull off the mask, and actually they were evil the whole time. And man, I can't stop thinking about that season 1 of The Good Place, right? Like the reveal at the end of that, and you're like, oh shit! Like Ted Dance's laugh.
That laugh is one of the best moments of TV.
Yeah, absolutely,
right there. So Cyclops is trying to convince Lilandra, hey, don't commit genocide in Cassandra Nova's name. She spits in his face and says, hey, the insertion team, you are go. We cut over to the insertion team who are down at the mansion, full of like a couple, Imperial Guardians that we've met before, but also this is just Grant Morrison having some fun making up new dudes. Good. Because I like and hate all of these dudes at the same time. It's but the banter, like it's very goofy. Like, to them, this is just a day job. Which I really like. Like Neosaurus is complaining that's cold. Usually if we have G-Type here, at least his skin is a consistent 6,000 degrees Kelvin. Like it could just warm up next to him. They're kind of bantering because to them this is just like, well, another day, another dollar. Let's go kill a mansion full of people.
And I just like going into that banter point. The Oracle like has a line of, remember that time we were sent in to raise the anti-heaven of Adun? And I'm like, no, but I kind of here for that. Let's go.
Yeah.
sounds better than the Dark Souls 3 DLC anyway. Let's go.
Anti-heaven. I fucking love the anti-heaven. Like, Yeah, that is extremely Grant Morrison. And then of course someone's like, no, I don't actually understand your concept of memory.
Super good.
Just it's fun. They're talking about this. Neosaurus is still complaining about the heat and says like, oh, I'd like to be treated with respect. I have one of the most amazing minds in the galaxy. And as soon as they say he'd like to be treated with respect, Wolverine jumps out of some bushes and claws his brain out.
Yeah,
here.
This is pretty messy too. Like I think when I complain about the art, it's just like what is happening in the screen.
Oh, dude,
there's a lot
people
of that.
disappear constantly. There's a part later that's coming up with where Emma Frost is being escorted by like a big strong dude who just leaves. He just disappears.
He's just not there anymore.
Yeah, the blocking is horrible in this book.
Yeah,
like it's actually, when I say there's a point, I mean the next page. Wolverine does that, and then we're supposed to be cutting over to another group. So it still has Oracle, it still has Manta, but then Super Guardian shows up there. What's his head? And then they are also near Emma Frost.
Yes,
with not Colossus.
With Star Colossus, I guess is what you would call him. Yeah, they got Emma Frost in this weird like psionic headgear thing. It looks like a metal like thing with no eyes or nose openings at all. So it's just like a solid sphere helmet that she's put on her head. Kind of like Alfred's the Executioner had almost, except not quite as tall.
Yeah.
But yeah, they have not only Emma Frost but the Stepford Cuckoos and Angel. And very quickly the Stepford Cuckoos kind of take over Oracle. And set her mind, like make her go crazy, I guess. Like put her. They say I'm going to put you on a track in your head that's hard to get off of, and like in the real world, she's holding on to like a roller coaster thing or something. I don't know what's happening there. So
in the mind world, she's holding onto a roller coaster, and then the real world, she's kind of gripping and staring.
Yeah.
So and like all those Super Guardians just left. All the other ones.
Yeah.
They're just like we're leaving Oracle in charge. We're idiots. Like it just, and they just disappear. The blocking. Actually, now that I'm looking at Star Colossus is shown flying away.
Yeah, but that also doesn't make any sense. Like did he just bring Emma over and was like, I'm just going to set you and your exposed cleavage out right here, and then I'm gonna peace out. See ya.
Yeah, the blocking is not good.
Yeah.
So left there after they take care of Oracle, they're left with Stuff, who is the Super Guardian who disguised himself as the boyfriend for one of the Stepford Cuckoos, and Angel punches him in the face, which distracts him long enough for the Stepford Cuckoos to get into his mind as well and revert him back into his like slug form.
Yes. And then they decide that they are the Resistance, and they ask Angel, who has more experience fighting than the Stepford Cuckoos do you have any idea how to fight superheroes? And she says, yeah, dirty, which I think is really, really good.
It's real good. There's also a great moment. Again, the writing here is really good. Even the art is sketchy. I forgot about this thing where the Stepford Cuckoos are making up and they're talking about stuff. And it's like, your boyfriend turned into an ugly space frog. And he goes, well, at least I'm not stuck in one hard shape, just like you solidoids are. And Oracle's like, Stuff, you've already been cautioned against morphism. Like, it just, like the sensitivity training that the Shi'ar went to for morphism.
Stuff had a heated gamer moment in the Shi'ar Empire at one time.
Yeah. It's the S-word gamer has logged on to,
you're not supposed to use solidoids.
Yeah, listen, I was just on Twitch, and I just got angry, so I had to say solidoid.
So from there, we cut over to Jean and Hank. And if you remember the last issue, the X-Men had invited a whole series of news crews to come in and interview them about the X-Men and what they do at the school. Now that it's under attack, Jean has basically taken over all of these people's mind and are herding them. I think she says at some point, like a flock of birds into a safety area. But she's feeling really gross about doing it. And it's obviously has a huge strain on her. While all of that's going on, Hank is explaining that, yes, there's nano sentinels. And she's like, I don't have time for any of this nano sentinel bullshit, Hank.
Yeah, no negativity right now. And Hank just keeps trying to say it. And she looks like shit. Like everyone is having a bad time. Because these nano sentinels, like they've been there for a long time and they've ramped up. You get the impression. Like we find out later what the nano sentinels actually do are killing white blood cells. So they are getting disease. Like they're getting, their bodies are not cleaning themselves out. They're getting blood poisoning and septic shock and shit here. And Hank is just kind of trying to tell her what's going on. Like she's keeping her eyes on the prize, and he's just like, yeah, there are super guardians on the roof. And she's like, hey, you'll be safe here. There's 10 feet of steel walls. He's like, yeah, they can punch through mountains. Like, you know, they can melt steel. This is crazy.
And he tells her, as they herd everybody through into the vault, he tells her, like, hey, if somebody gets close, self-destruct Cerebro, I'm going to go fight these dudes.
Yeah, specifically, I'm going to go recover my self-esteem.
Yeah.
Which really I like. Funny. So we get a little couple-page action shot of, a few pages of Beast. Again, we don't really, I assume they were in the basement near the danger room or whatever. Now they're up in the lobby because the blocking in this issue is not good. With Beast fighting a couple of the Super Guardians, he's basically monologuing about, how great he is. Like, oh, I'm invisible, like I have enhanced senses, in a beastly way, fighting two people off. However, a flying one comes in who says, like, I got the Phoenix. She's wearing mind armor, and then Jean Grey kung fu's her to death.
I love this kung fu scene because they all they expect from the Phoenix is telepathic or a telekinetic attack, and she just literally fucking kung fu's this chick down to the ground. And like, there's one of the scenes, and it's kind of structured poorly, but like some of the mutant kids are like looking, and they're all like, "What the fuck?"
Whoa. Yeah.
Also, the two mutants that Hank is fighting are called Fader and Ultraviolet, which both I think are
strains of weed.
Well, I was gonna say Kanye West songs, but either one.
Oh.
So yes.
So they've fought off a couple of these Super Guardians here, and more Super Guardians kind of show up. Like, again, the bad blocking. Jean Grey says, Hank, we switch over to Hank fighting a whole new group of these guys.
Yes.
Find this thing called Squirm, cuts it open, and Squirm is leaking out of the suit. He gets zapped, and you think that it's like, okay, they're going to get sterilized, but then Wolverine has stolen a flight patch from Neosaurus and is now flying around. And again, one of the worst blocked. Like, having, the idea, I can understand the fun of, like, having Wolverine flying around, doing all these stabs.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds really fun. This does not convey this visually very well.
This should be, like, one of the coolest things that happened in this issue. Like, seeing Wolverine flying around and stabbing dudes should be super fucking cool. And instead, it just looks kind of messy, and you don't really know what's going on.
Yep.
Can we talk about the lady who is like half black and half white, and like not like literally white and literally black, like hard colors, and then like he like stabs her, and then there's two of them, and one is all white and one is all black.
Yep.
Also, they're naked.
Yep. And then he smacks their heads together like two Stooges.
Yeah.
So like a couple of Moes. It's really, really weird. I don't know who that Super Guardian is supposed to be. I
don't either.
What happened exactly? Do not understand.
A lot of this is super weird, but fun. Like Wolverine, like, Wreck and Shop is definitely fun, and they seem to, like, I almost wish I knew more about the Super Guardians, because in the next page, like, Hank kind of wraps two of them together and uses their powers against one another. And it looks cool, but I don't really know exactly what's happening.
No, it's weird. It's like the text of what is happening is cool.
Mm-hmm.
It is really hard to experience it in the proper way. Like, your brain kind of has to fill in the details because of the shoddy art. And it's in, Grant Morrison knows how to write a comic. That's, we keep going on about that. So like the writing moves it along. Like none of the dialogue is embarrassing. Like, it's snappy. It's good, but it's like, man, it's like not a good action scene. It made me want like this issue to be remixed or remastered. What if the entire Grant Morrison run was done with Frank Quitely? Like, he had spent the last 10 years doing that, and we didn't know, and they released that. I would buy that big omnibus for like $100.
Sure, why not? Yeah, I'd get it
rad as hell.
After all of this, the Super Guardian guy shows up.
Gladiator,
thank you. And Gladiator is a guy that has shown up in these books before.
Gladiator is a very specific word and does not describe what this man does.
No, not at all. Like,
why is he called Gladiator?
Why does he have a weird, like, mohawk, like a white boy mohawk? Like, it's very strange. But he has like belief-based powers. In other words, if he believes in himself, then he can do better shit, basically.
Yeah, he's Superman whose strength is commensurate with his belief, which is a cool idea. And again, the dialogue here is good. Wolverine's like, hey, you super moron. Like, what are you doing? Like, again, we're friends. And then we get the worst drawing of Wolverine down below this, where he's holding his claws out, and he looks like he has rabbit teeth.
I don't know what's happening. He looks like he has like two solid front teeth, and that's really it.
It's really weird.
It's really bad.
It's a horrible drawing of Wolverine.
It's the stuff with Gladiator too. Like look at his face from the panel at the top right to the bottom, like, and it's already different on the same page.
Whoa.
Like, yeah,
it's really, really rough shit. And Gladiator is like, no, we've been this Imperial Order, you've been sterilized, you fought with honor, we're going to carry this out with dignity, etc. We cut over to Jean Grey. They're in the room with Cassandra Nova's body, where Charles Xavier's brain is at. It's rapidly dying, as we mentioned before. All the humans are here, and Kabambo, just smashing through the wall. There comes Gladiator with Beast and Logan.
Yeah,
and again, good dialogue. I love Wolverine's like, Jean, I tried to talk him out of it. He's all bloodied. He obviously got into a big fight.
And our boy Star Colossus is still in the background there. So in case you wanted more of that guy for some reason.
Worst haircut Colossus. And Colossus, out of all the X-Men, truly one of the worst haircuts.
I have probably. Yeah, that's a super bad haircut. We get the same thing from Jean Grey of like, no, you got to listen to me. That's not really Lilandra. That's not Xavier, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But very quickly, another Guardian comes in and is like, hey, I found Smasher. And if you remember, Smasher was sent from the Empire to warn the mutants of what was going to happen. And he is able to confirm like, oh yeah, that's not Lilandra. That's Xavier. I saw everything.
Yep. And they do some foreshadowing here, where Gladiator is like, but the Empress is beyond reproach. Like he starts having his identity crisis that he's going to have in a couple issues early. Here. And, even he says, he looks up, the Empire is polluted. Like his faith is starting to die, as is Jean Grey, as she's like collapsing from the Sentinels. And Beast finally is able to get this out. Like we got dosed by Nano Sentinels. I was trying to tell you that earlier. Like that is why you feel like you're going to die. They're inside us. They're eating us.
Nano Sentinels are so fucking cool. Like usually I check out at nano machines or whatever because it's basically like a magic wand, but like Nano Sentinels in the X-Men universe, that's so fucking cool. That's
way cooler. Mm-hmm. Yeah, a super tiny Sentinel, way cooler than a super tiny machine.
Absolutely. Yeah. A
super
super tiny machine with a purpose, I guess, is what I really get off on.
Well, and they have little helmets too. Like they look like little helmets, they look like shrimps with Sentinel heads. It's amazing.
It's so good.
Yeah.
So now we cut back over to the starship, where Scott and Zorn have literally been loaded into some sort of space gun and pointed at the Earth. And
this is something too where I felt like a better artist could draw attention to the absurdity of the fact that they are being loaded like the Great Giuseppe in a circus or whatever. Like it's very funny that like why does this YR have a human shooting gun?
Yeah, it's
like a gun that uses people as bullets.
What were they designing that, or did they did they have that on hand? Like as soon as they met a human, were they like, well, I got to make a gun that shoots that?
Someday I'm going to have to shoot that. It's the Shi'ar way.
Lilandra, do you mean shoot at it? No. I mean, I need to shoot that.
Don't question the Empress. Like
I'm impeachable. Build me a human gun.
What did she mean? The Empress's will must be obeyed. And then they just built this thing, and then it just was gathering dust for the entire run of the Marvel universe, until this issue when they finally had some humans to shoot at Earth.
And that's why we don't cover Marvel Encyclopedia on this podcast, everybody.
God, yeah, those books are just the devices. Gotta find the human gun, like Mutant Shooter 2000 here.
I stumbled across Gary's Kryptonite the other day. Apparently, someone in the 80s wrote a Star Wars book that was specifically all of that stuff. About the Empire, like rank and file, like all of these like super detailed drawings of the and how everything works and like what certain level of stormtroopers do and don't. And it was just like I was like, wow, this is like none of this is fun. Like there was nary an adventure to be had. Like
that stuff was huge in the 90s too. I used to have a book that was that for Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Yeah.
I fucking loved it, and I don't know why. Because it was so bland. It was just like, here's a blueprint of a tricorder. I'm like, I'm
fucking
13 in the zone. Hell yes.
So Scott and Zorn are tired of putting up with all of this rabble, and Scott reminds Zorn that G-Type is what does he say? A living solar plasma, and of course Zorn has a star in his head. And they do.
You have superpowers, you moron.
Yeah. Both of us have superpowers we could have been using, presumably, this entire time. And it looks like Zorn just dissolves the living space plasma. Is that what happens?
He comes back though too. Like he just kind of knocks him out. I think he's supposed to have fallen down. That's what the word bubble that's coming from below is supposed to be implying, and that's like smoke coming from his face. Because later he's just fine, but then he does get melted later as well.
Sure. Yeah.
So it's and then they're free, and that's kind of our end here.
But like in the like behind them on this like huge splash page where they're like trampling over their enemies, Zorn and Scott, like behind them, the human gun is still fine. Like, did they just slip out? Like, were they holding themselves in there? Like, was it a trust system?
Yeah, it's the honor system for the human gun. Like it's like a subway. It's when Homer like reached into the vending machine to grab 2 sodas, and then like the fireman's like, "Are you still holding on?" No. Yeah. I'm disappointed we didn't get to see the human gun go off. Yeah. Also, Smasher just jumped out of the thing.
Yeah.
Why didn't he use this human gun?
Well, I mean, because he fucked up the landing to begin with. Imagine if he was shot out. Like, he would have really fucked up the landing. Right? Yeah, you only want to do that when you're trying to destroy the Xavier mansion. And we're trying to
entertain circus children. So
true.
One or the other. Yeah. And that's the issue. It's just setting us up for, hey, like the tide has turned now. Again, this is a weirdly optimistic and fun and adventuresome arc. The Cassandra Nova stuff, the way they structure the bleakness is really interesting because early on it's very bleak and doom and gloom, but most of this arc, like the characters start getting confident pretty quick. Like, oh yeah, we're fucking X-Men. Like we got this. And it's satisfying. Like it feels good to see the good guys like slowly realize like, no, actually we're hyper competent and awesome. Like we're gonna fuck this shit up.
And it's good. Like I like all of this. Like the art is a little iffy. I mean, that last splash page with Cyclops' face looks fucking garbage, but
it's amazing. Yeah, this is Igor Cordy's worst shit.
But overall, like this is my good X-Men shit. Like this is crazy stuff happening. Nobody, like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know how they're going to get out of the situation. But like Gladiator's on our side now, so that has to be good.
Yep.
So
spoiler, it isn't.
It isn't.
Yeah. So we will be back with episode 125. If you like this show, ratings and reviews and patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv are all very useful.
Yep. Thank you everybody for listening. Thank you for leaving some good reviews. We've had some good ones lately that were absolute trash fires, so I very much appreciate that. And we'll see you in a couple of days.
Happy New Year.